Instructions for the Passover, Exodus video number 3. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "These are the instructions for the festival of the Passover. No outsiders are allowed to eat the Passover meal, but all slaves who have been purchased may eat it if he has been circumcised. Temporary residents and hired servants may not eat it. Each Passover lamb must be eaten in one house. Do not carry any of its meat outside, and do not break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel must celebrate the whole Passover festival. If there are foreigners living among you who want to celebrate the Lord's Passover, let all their males be circumcised. Only then may they celebrate the Passover with you like any native-born Israelite. But no uncircumcised male may ever eat the Passover meal. This instruction applies to everyone, whether a native-born Israelite or foreigner living among you." So all the people of Israel followed all the Lord's commands to Moses and Aaron. On that very day, the Lord brought the people of Israel out to the land of Egypt like an army. Dedication of the firstborn. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Dedicate to me every firstborn among the Israelites. The first offspring to be born of both humans and animals belong to me." So Moses said to the people, "This is a day to remember forever, the day you left Egypt, the place of your slavery. Today the Lord has brought you out by the power of his mighty hand. Remember, eat no food containing yeast. On this day, in early spring, in the month of Abib, you have been set free. You must celebrate this event in this month each year after the Lord brings you into the land of Canaan, into the land of Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Hivites, and Jebusites. He swore to your ancestors that he would give you this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast. Then on the 7th day, celebrate a feast to the Lord. Eat bread without yeast during those 7 days. In fact, there must be no yeast bread or any yeast found within the borders of your land during this time. On the 7th day, you must explain to your children, I am celebrating what the Lord did for me when I left Egypt. This annual festival will be a visible sign to you, like a mark branded on your hand or on your forehead. Let it remind you always to recite this teaching of the Lord. With a strong hand, the Lord rescued you from Egypt, so observe the decree of this festival at the appointed time each year. This is what you must do when the Lord fulfills the promise he swore to you and your ancestors. When he gives you the land where you, the Canaanites, now live, he must present all the firstborn sons and firstborn male animals to the Lord, for they belong to him. A firstborn donkey may be brought back from the Lord by presenting a lamb or young goat in its place, but if you do not buy it back, you must break its neck. However, you must buy back every firstborn son, and in the future your children will ask you, what does this mean? Then you will tell them, with the power of his mighty hand, the Lord brought us out of Egypt, the place of our slavery. Pharaoh's stubbornness refused to let us go, so the Lord killed all the firstborn males throughout the land of Egypt, both people and animals. That is why I now sacrifice all the firstborn males to the Lord, except that the firstborn sons are always brought back." Beautiful. This ceremony will be like a mark branded on your hand or your forehead. It is a reminder that the power of the Lord's mighty hand brought us out of Egypt. Israel's wilderness detour. When Pharaoh finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs across the Philistine territory, even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. God said if the people are faced with battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness towards the Red Sea. Thus, the Israelites left Egypt like an army ready for battle. Moses took the bone of Joseph with him, for Joseph had made the sons of Israel swear to do this. He said, God will certainly come to help you. When he does, you must take my bones with you from this place. The Israelites left Succoth and camped out at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them. He guided them during the day with a pillar of cloud, and he provided light at night with a pillar of fire. This allowed them to travel by day or by night, and the Lord did not remove the pillar of clouds or pillar of fire from its place in front of the people. Then the Lord gave these instructions to Moses. Order the Israelites to turn back and camp by Piharoth, between Migdol and the sea. Camp there along the shore across from Baal-Zephon. Then Pharaoh will think the Israelites are confused. They are trapped in the wilderness, and once again I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will chase after you. I have planned this in order to display my glory, through this Pharaoh and his whole army. After this, the Egyptians will know I am the Lord. So the Israelites camped there as they were told. The Egyptians pursue Israel. When the word reaches the king of Egypt that the Israelites had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds. What have we done, letting all those Israelites slaves get away? They asked. So Pharaoh harnessed his chariot and called up his troops. He took with him 600 of Egypt's best chariots, along with the rest of the chariots of Egypt, each with its commander. The Lord hardened the heart of the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, so he chased after the people of Israel, who had left with fists raised in defiance. The Egyptians chased after them with all the forces of the Pharaoh's army, all his horses and chariots, his charioteers and his troops. The Egyptians caught up with the people of Israel as they were camped beside the shore near Pi-Hahiroth, across from Baal-Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the people of Israel looked up and panicked when they saw the Egyptians overtaking them. They cried out to the Lord and they said to Moses, "Why did you bring us here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why would you make us leave Egypt? Didn't we tell you this would happen while you were still in Egypt? We said, 'Leave us alone, let us be slaves to the Egyptians. It's better to be a slave in Egypt than a corpse in the wilderness.' But Moses told the people, 'Don't be afraid, just stand still and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see will never be seen again. The Lord himself will fight for you. Just stay calm.'" Escape through the Red Sea. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to get moving. Pick up your staff and raise your hand over the sea. Divide the waters so Israelites can walk through the middle of the sea on the ground, and I will harden their hearts of Egyptians, and they will charge in after the Israelites. My great glory will be displayed through Pharaoh and his troops, his chariots and his charioteers. When my glory is displayed through them, all Egypt will see my glory and know I am the Lord." Then the angel of the Lord, who had been leading the people of Israel, moved through the rear of the camp. The pillar of cloud also moved from the front and stood behind them. The cloud settled between Egyptian Israelites and Israelite camps. As the darkness fell, the cloud turned to fire, lighting up the night, but Egyptians and Israelites did not approach each other that night. Then Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the Lord opened up a pathway through the water with a strong east wind. The wind blew all that night, turning the seabed into dry land. So the people of Israel walked through the middle of the sea on the dry ground with walls of water on each side. Then the Egyptians, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and charioteers, chased them in the middle of the sea. But just because before dawn the Lord took a look down at the Egyptian army from the pillar of fire and cloud, and he threw his forces into total confusion. He twisted their chariot wheels, making their chariots difficult to drive. "Let's get out of here, away from these Israelites," the Egyptians shouted. "The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." When all the Israelites had reached out onto the other side, the Lord said to Moses, "Raise your hands over the sea again." Then the water will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and charioteers. So as the sun began to rise, Moses raised his hand over the sea, and water rushed back into its usual place. The Egyptians tried to escape, but the Lord swept them into sea. Then the waters returned and covered all the chariots and charioteers, the entire army of Pharaoh, of the Egyptians who had chased the Israelites into the sea. Not a single one survived, but the people of Israel had walked through the middle of the sea on dry ground. As the water stood up like a wall on both sides, that is how the Lord rescued Israel from the hands of the Egyptians that day. And the Israelites saw the bodies of the Egyptians washed up on the seashore. When the people of Israel saw the mighty power that the Lord had unleashed against the Egyptians, they were filled with awe before him. They put their faith in the Lord and his servant Moses. A song of deliverance. Then Moses and the other people of Israel sang this song to the Lord. "I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously, for he has hurled both horse and rider into the sea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has given me victory. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a warrior. Yahweh is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and army he has hurled into the sea. The finest of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters gushed over them. They sank to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Lord, is glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, smashes the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, majesty, you overthrow those who rise against you. You unleash your blazing fury. It consumes them like a straw. At the blast of your breath, the water piled up. The surging waters stood straight like a wall. In the heart of the sea, the deep waters became hard. The enemy boasted, I will chase them and catch them, up with them. I will plunder them and consume them. I will flash my sword. My beautiful hand will destroy them. But you blew with your breath, and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you among the gods, O Lord? Glorious in holiness, awesome in splendor, performing great wonders. You raised your right hand, and the earth swallowed our enemies. With the unfailing love, you led the people you had redeemed. In your might, you guide them to your sacred home. The people hear and tremble. Anguish grips those who live in Philistia. The leaders of Edom are terrified. The nobles of Moab tremble. All those who live in Canaan melt away. Terror and dread fall upon them. The power of your arm makes them lifeless as stone until your people pass by, O Lord, until the people you purchased pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on your own mountain, the place, O Lord, reserved for your own dwelling, the sanctuary, O Lord, that your hand has established. The Lord will reign forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and charioteers rushed into the sea, the Lord brought the water crashing down on them. But the people of Israel had walked through the middle of the sea on the dry ground. Then Miriam, the prophet, Aaron's sister, took a tambourine and led all the women as they played their tambourines and danced, and Miriam sang this song. Sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. He has hurled both horse and rider into the sea. Bitter water at Marah. Then Moses led the people of Israel away from the Red Sea, and they moved out into the desert of Shur. They traveled in this desert for 3 days without finding any water. When they came to the oasis of Marah, the water was too bitter to drink, so they called this place Marah, which means bitter. Then the people complained and turned against Moses. What are we going to drink? They demanded. So Moses cried out to the Lord for help, and the Lord showed him a piece of wood. Moses threw it into the water, and this made the water good to drink. It was there at Marah when the Lord set before them the following decree at a standard to test their faithfulness to him. He said, if you will listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight, obeying his commands and keeping all of his decrees, then I will not make you suffer any of the diseases I have sent on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. After leaving Marah, the Israelites traveled on the oasis of Elim, where they found 12 springs and 70 palm trees. They camped there beside the water, manna and quail from heaven. Then the whole community of Israel set out from Elim and journeyed into the wilderness of Sin. Between Elim and Mount Sinai, they arrived there. Oh no, I literally just flipped every single page. Shoot, I lost my page. Then the whole community between Elim. Then they arrived there on the 15th day of the second month, 1 month after leaving the land of Egypt. Thereto the whole community of Israel complained about Moses and Aaron. If only the Lord had killed us back in Egypt, they moaned. There we sat around pots filled with meat and ate bread we wanted, but now you have brought us into this wilderness to starve us all to death. Then the Lord said to Moses, look, I'm going to rain down food from heaven for you each day, for the people can go out and pick as much food as they need for that day. I will test them in this to see whether or not they will follow my instructions. On the 6th day they will gather food, and when they prepare it, there will be twice as much around. So Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, by evening you will realize it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. In the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaints, which are against him, not against us. What have we done that you should complain about us? Then Moses added, the Lord will give you meat to eat in the evening and bread to satisfy you in the morning, for he has heard for all of your complaints against him. What have we done? Yes, your complaints are against the Lord, not against us. Then Moses said to Aaron, announce this to the entire community of Israel. Present yourselves before the Lord, for he has heard your complaining. And as Aaron spoke out to the whole community of Israel, they looked outwards to the wilderness. There they could see the amazing glory of the Lord in the clouds. Then the Lord said to Moses, I have heard the Israelites complain. Now tell them in the evening you will have meat to eat, and in the morning you will have bread you want. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, that amount, some only a little. But when they measured it out, everyone had just enough. Those who gathered a lot had nothing left over, and those who gathered only a little had enough. Each family had just what they needed. Then Moses told them, "Do not keep any of it until morning." But some of them didn't listen and kept some of it until morning. But then it was full of maggots and had terrible smells. Moses was very angry at them. My dad likes to say, this this restaurant we go to tastes, or it smells like maggots because they don't keep their bathroom clean. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I'm just thinking of maggots. After this, the people gathered the food morning by morning, each family according to its need. And as the sun became hot, the flakes had not picked up and melted and disappeared. On the 6th day they gathered twice as much as usual, 4 quarts for each person instead of 2. Then all the leaders of the community came and asked Moses for an explanation. Then he told them, "This is what the Lord commanded. Tomorrow will be the day of complete rest, a holy Sabbath day set apart from the Lord, set apart for the Lord." So they put some aside until morning, just as Moses had commanded. And in the morning they had leftover food, which was wholesome and good, without maggots or odor. Moses said, "Eat this food, for today is a Sabbath day dedicated to the Lord. There will be no food on the ground today. You may gather the food for 6 days, but the 7th day is the Sabbath. There will be no food on the ground that day." Some of the people went out anyway on the 7th day, but they found no food. The Lord asked Moses, "How long will these people refuse to obey my commands and instructions? They must realize that the Sabbath is the Lord's gift to you. This is when he gives you a 2-day supply on the 6th day, so there will be enough for 2 days. On the Sabbath day, you must eat each day in your place. Do not go out and pick up food on the 7th day." So the people did not gather any food on the 7th day. The Israelites called the food manna. It was white like coriander seed, and it tasted like honey wafers. Then Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Fill a quartet container with manna to preserve it for your descendants. Then later generations will be able to see the food I gave you in the wilderness when I set you free from Egypt." Moses said to Aaron, "Get a jar and fill it with 2 quarts of manna, then put it in the sacred place before the Lord to preserve it for all future generations." Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He eventually placed it in the Ark of the Covenant in front of the stone tablets inscribed with terms of the covenant. So the people of Israel ate manna for 40 years until they arrived at the land where they would settle. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. The container used to measure the manna was omer, which is 1/10 of ephah. It held about 2 quarts. Water from the rock. I'm a little confused, which I do get. Okay, water from the rock. At the Lord's command, the whole community of Israel left the wilderness of Sin and moved from place to place. Eventually, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water there for the people to drink. So once more, the people complained against Moses. "Give us water," they demanded. "Quiet," Moses replied. "Why are you complaining against me? And why are you testing the Lord?" Testing the Lord, how could you? But tormented by thirst, they continued to argue with Moses. "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Are you trying to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? They are ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, Walk out front of the people, take your staff, the one you used when you struck the water of the Nile, and call some of the elders of Israel to join you. I will stand before you at the rock of Mount Sinai, strike the rock, and the water will become gushing out. Then people will be able to drink." So Moses struck the rock as he was told, and water gushed from it as the elders looked on. Moses named the place Massa, which means test, and Meribah, which means arguing, because the people of Israel argued with Moses and tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord here with us or not?" And he's always everywhere, which is the truth. Israel defeats the Amalekites. Okay. While the people of Israel were still at Rephaim, the warrior of Amalek attacked them. Moses commanded Joshua, "Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill, holding the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as what Moses had commanded and fought the army of Amalek. Meanwhile, Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of the nearby hill. As long as Moses held on the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired that he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they sat on each side of Moses, holding up his hand, so his hands were steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nissi, which means "the Lord is my banner." He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne. So now the Lord will be at war with Amalek generation after generation." Jethro visits a visit to Moses. Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything God had done for Moses and his people, the Israelites. He had heard especially about how the Lord had rescued them from Egypt. Earlier, Moses had sent his wife Zipporah and his 2 sons back to Jethro, who had taken them in. Moses' first son, who was named Gershom, for Moses had said, "When the boy was born, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." His second son, who was named Eliezer, for Moses had said, "The God of my ancestors was my helper. He rescued me from the sword of the Pharaoh." Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, now came to visit Moses in the wilderness. He brought Moses' wife and 2 sons with him, and they arrived while Moses and the people were camped near the mountain of God. Jethro had sent a message to Moses saying, "I, Jethro, your father-in-law, am coming to see you with your wife and your 2 sons." So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. He bowed low and kissed him. They asked each other about each other's welfare and then went into Moses' tent. Moses told his father-in-law everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and Egypt on behalf of Israel. He also told him about the hardships they had experienced along the way and how the Lord had rescued his people from all their troubles. Jethro was delighted when he heard about the good things the Lord had done for Israel as he rescued them from the hands of the Egyptians. "Praise the Lord," Jethro said, "for he has rescued you from the Egyptians and from the Pharaoh. Yes, he has rescued Israel from the powerful hands of Egypt. I know now that the Lord is greater than all the other gods, because he has rescued his people from the oppression of proud Egyptians." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifice to God. Aaron and all his elders of Israel came out and joined him in a sacrificial meal in God's presence, which he's always present, but I guess he was more present with them. I don't know. He's not any more present in any place than any other, but yeah, I'm gonna move the camera so you can hear me better. Okay. I'm sorry, I lost my oppression of the praise the Lord, Jethro, oppression of the proud Egyptian. Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifice to God. Aaron and all the elders of Israel came out and joined him in a sacrificial meal. Jethro's wise advice. The next day, Moses took his seat to hear the people's disputes against each other. They waited before him from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he asked, "What are you really accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do this all alone when everyone stands around you from morning till evening?" Moses replied, "Because the people come to me to get a ruling from God. When a dispute arises, they come to me, and I am the one who settles the case between the quarreling parties. I inform the people of God's decree and give him instructions. This is not good, Moses, his father-in-law, exclaimed. You're going to wear yourself out, and the people too. This job is too heavy a burden for you to handle all by yourself. Now listen to me, and let me give you a word of advice, and may God be with you. You should continue to bring people's representative before God, bringing their disputes to him. Teach them God's decree and give them his instructions. Show them how to conduct their lives, but select from all the people some capable, honest men who fear God and hate bribes. Appoint them as leaders over groups of 1,000, 150, and 10. They should always be available to solve the people's common disputes, but have them bring the major cases to you. Have them bring the major cases to you. Let the leaders decide the smaller matters themselves. This will help you carry the load, making the task easier for you. This is a really smart idea. His father-in-law. If you follow this advice, and if God commands you to do so, then you will be able to endure the pressures, and all of the people who will go home in peace. Moses listened to his father-in-law's advice and followed his suggestions. He chose capable men from all of Israel and appointed them as leaders over the people. He put them in charge of groups of 1,150 and 10. These men were always available to solve the people's common disputes. They brought the major cases to Moses, but they took care of the small matters themselves. Soon after this, Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law, who returned to his own land. The Lord reveals himself at Sinai. Exactly 2 months after Israelites left Egypt, they arrived in the wilderness of Sinai. After breaking camp at Rephidim, every time I pronounce something on these videos, I can't. I'm so bad at it. Oh, gosh. I don't want to have another hiccup attack today. Then Moses climbed to the mountain to appear before God. The Lord called from him from the mountain and said, give these instructions to the family of Jacob and announce it to the descendants of Israel. You've seen what I have done to the Egyptians. You know how I carried you on the eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among all the people on the earth. For all the earth belongs to me, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation. This is the message you must give to the people of Israel. So Moses returned from the mountain and called together the elders of the people and told them everything the Lord had commanded him. And all the people responded together, we will do everything the Lord has commanded. So Moses brought back the people's answers back to the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will come to you in a thick cloud. Moses said to the people themselves, I will come to the thick cloud, Moses, so that the people themselves can hear me when I speak to you. Then they will also trust you. Moses told the Lord what the people had said. Then the Lord told Moses, go down and prepare the people for my arrival. Consecrate them today and tomorrow and have them wash their clothing. Be sure they are ready on the third day. For that day the Lord will come down on the Mount Sinai, and all the people will watch. Mark off the boundary all around the mountain. Warn people, be careful. Do not go up on the mountain or even touch the boundaries. Anyone who touches the mountain will certainly be put to death. No hand may touch the person or animal that crosses the boundary. Instead, stone them or shoot them with an arrow. They must be put to death. However, when the ram's horns sounds a long blast, then the people may go up on the mountain. So Moses went down to the people. He consecrated them for worship and then washed their clothes. He told them, get ready for the third day, and until then abstain from having sexual intercourse. On the third day, thunder roared and lightning flashed and dense clouds came down from the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a ram's horn, and all the people trembled. Moses led them out from the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord had descended on it in a form of fire. The smoke billowed into the sky like a smoke from a brick kiln, and the whole mountain shook violently. At the blast of the ram horn grew louder and louder. Moses spoke. God thundered his reply. The Lord came down on top of the Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses climbed to the mountain. Then the Lord told Moses, go back down and warn the people not to break through the boundaries to see the Lord, or they will die. Even the priests who regularly come near the Lord must purify themselves so that the Lord does not break out and destroy them. But Lord, Moses protested, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai. You already warned us. You told me, mark off boundaries all around the mountain to set it apart as holy. But the Lord said, go down and bring Aaron back up with you. In the meantime, do not let the other priests or people break through to approach the Lord, or he will break out and destroy them. So Moses went down to the people and told them what the Lord had said. 10 commandments for the covenant community. Then the Lord gave the people all these instructions. I am the Lord your God, who rescued you from the land of Egypt, the place of your slavery. You must not have any other God except me. You must not make... Oh, this is a good one. You must not make for yourself an idol of any kind, or any image of anything in the heavens, or on the earth, or the sea. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord God, your God, am a jealous God, who will not tolerate your affection for any other God. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me. But I lavish unfailing love who those 1,000 generations of those who love me and obey my commands. You must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not let you go unpunished if you misuse his name. Remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath day of the rest dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes you, your sons, your daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, and any foreigners living among you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, the earth, the sea, and everything in them, but the 7th day he rested. This is why the Lord blessed you on the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy. Honor your father and mother, then you will live long, full life in the land of Lord God has given you. You must not murder, you must not commit adultery, you must not steal your neighbor, you must not testify falsely against your neighbor, you must not covet your neighbor's house, you must not covet your neighbor's wife, male or female servant, ox or donkey, or anything else that belongs to your neighbor. When the people heard the thunder and the loud blast of the ram's horn, and when they saw the flashes of lightning and the smoke billowing from the mountain, they stood at a distance, trembling with fear. And they said to Moses, you speak to us and we listen, but don't let God speak directly to us, or we will die. Don't be afraid, Moses answered them, for God has come in this way to test you, and so that you will fear him, so that your fear of him will keep you from sinning. Is it good fear? I don't understand the meaning of fear. Okay, proper uses of altars. Then the Lord said to Moses, say this to the people of Israel, you saw yourselves that I spoke to you from heaven. Remember, you must not make any idols of silver or gold to rival me. Build me an altar made of earth and offer your sacrifices to me, your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and goats and your cattle. Build my altar wherever I cause my names to be remembered, and I will come to you and bless you. If you use stones to build my altar, use only natural, uncut stones. Do not use shapes or stones with tools, for that will make the altar unfit for holy use. And do not approach my altar by going on the steps. If you do, someone might look up under your clothes and see your nakedness. Fair treatment of the slaves. There are regulations you must present to Israel. If you buy a Hebrew slave, he must serve for no more than 6 years, set him free in the 7th year, and he will owe you nothing for his freedom. If he was single when he became your slave, he shall leave single. If he was married before he became a slave, then his wife must be freed with him. If his master gave him a wife while he was a slave and they had sons and daughters, then only the man will be free in the 7th day, but his wife and children will still belong to his master. But the slave may declare, I love my master, my wife, and my children. I don't want to go free. If he does this, his master must present him before God. Then the master must take him to the door or doorpost and publicly pierce his ears with an awl. After that, the slave will serve his master for life. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of the 6 years as men are. If she does not satisfy her owner, he must allow her to be brought back, but he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. But if the slave's owners arrange her to marry a son, he may no longer treat her as a slave, but as a daughter. If the man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacies. If he fails in any of these 3 obligations, she may leave as free as a free woman without making any payments. Cases of personal injury. Anyone who assaults and kills another person must be put to death. But if it was a simple accident permitted by God, I will appoint a place of refuge where the slayer can run for safety. However, if someone deliberately kills another person, then the slayer must be dragged even from my altar and put to death. Anyone who strikes father or mother must be put to death. I'm a little confused about this part. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of the 6 years. If she does not satisfy her owner, he must allow her to be bought back, but he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract to her. They don't get that. Wait, if she does not satisfy her owner, he must... Sorry, I got a notification. He must... Since he is the one who broke the contract, but if the slave's owner arranges for her to marry, he may no longer treat her as a slave, but as a daughter. I don't get what the contract is. It says, if she does not satisfy her owner, he must allow her to be bought back again. But he is not allowed to sell her to foreigners, since he is the one who broke the contract with her. Sell her to foreigners? What contract? I'm so bad at this. It's hard for me to understand reading sometimes. When the man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of the 6 years. She will not be freed at the end of the 6 years if she does not satisfy her owners. I guess the contract is to stay with him. Okay. Cases of personal injury. Sorry, I always take so long to figure it out. Cases of personal injury. Anyone who assaults and kills another person must be put to death. I already did this. Kidnapped will be put to death, whether they're caught in possession of their victims or have already sold them as slaves. Anyone who dishonors father or mother will be put to death. Now suppose two men quarrel and one hits the other with a stone or a fist. An injured person does not die but is confined to bed. If he is later able to walk outside again, even with a crutch, the assailant will not be punished, but must compensate for his victim for lost wages and provide for a full recovery. Okay, if a man beats his male or female slave with a club and the slave dies as a result, the owner must be punished. But if the slave recovers within a day or two, then the owner shall not be punished, since the slave is his property. Now suppose two men are fighting, and in the process they accidentally strike a pregnant woman, so she gives birth prematurely. I did not know that could happen. If no further injuries result, the man who struck the woman must pay the amount of compensation the woman's husband demands and the judges approve. But if there is a further injury, the punishment must match the injury: a life for a life, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, a foot for a foot, a burn for a burn, a wound for a wound, a bruise for a bruise. If a man hits his male or female slave in the eye and the eye is blinded, oh, these rules are crazy, he must let the slave go free to compensate for the eye. And if a man knocks out the tooth of his male or female slave, he must let the slave go free to compensate for the tooth. I mean, I would definitely hope that I would get punched in the face at that point because I would not want to be a slave. If an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox must be stoned and its flesh may not be eaten. In such a case, however, the owner will not be held liable. But suppose the ox had a reputation for goring and the owner had been informed but failed to keep it under control. If the ox then kills someone, it must be stoned and the owner must also be put to death. However, the dead person's relatives may accept payment to compensate for the loss of a life. The owner of the ox may redeem his life by paying whatever is demanded. The same regulation applies if the ox gores a man or a boy, if a boy or a girl, but if the ox gores a slave, either male or female, the animal's owners must pay the slave's owner 30 silver coins and the ox must be stoned. Suppose someone digs or uncovers a pit and fails to cover it. Then an ox or a donkey falls into it. The owner of the pit must pay full compensation to the owner of the animal, but if he gets to keep the dead animal. If someone's ox injures the neighbor's ox and they sell the live ox and divide the price equally between them, they must also divide the dead animal between them. But they must also divide the dead animal. But if the ox has a reputation for gorging, yet its owner failed to keep it under control, he must pay full compensation. A live ox for a dead one, but he may keep the dead one. I don't really know what was going on there, but I don't think it matters that much because it's talking about, like, back then what they cared about, like, an ox. If your ox does this and another ox does that. But that stuff isn't really liable, or no, it's not really what happens nowadays. Okay. Production of property. If someone steals an ox or a sheep and then kills, oh my gosh. Maybe it's a metaphor. Maybe the ox isn't just the ox. It can be other things. If someone steals an ox or sheep and then kills or sells it, the thief must pay back 5 oxen for the ox stolen and 4 sheep for the sheep stolen. If a thief is caught in the act of breaking into a house and is struck and killed in the process, the person who killed the thief is not guilty of murder, but it happens in the daylight. The one who killed the thief is guilty of murder. A thief who is caught must pay in full for everything he stole. If he cannot pay, he must be sold as a slave to pay for his theft. If someone steals an ox or a donkey or a sheep and it is found in the thief's possession, then the thief must pay double the value of the stolen animal. If the animal is grazing in the field of a vineyard, and the owner let it stray into someone else's field to graze, and the animal's owner must pay compensation for the best of his grain or grapes. If you are burning thorn bushes and the fire gets out of control and spreads into another person's field, destroy the sheathens or the uncut grass or the whole crop. The one who started the fire must pay for the lost crop. Suppose someone leaves for money or goods with a neighbor for safekeeping and they are stolen from the neighbor's house. If the thief is caught, the compensation is double the value of what was stolen. But if the thief is not caught, the neighbor must appear before God, who will determine if it was stolen property. Suppose there is a dispute between 2 people who both claim to own a particular ox, donkey, sheep, article of clothing, or any lost property. Both parties must come before God, and the person whom God declares guilty must pay double compensation to the other. Now suppose someone leaves a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal with a neighbor for safekeeping, but it dies or is injured or is taken away, and no one sees what happened. The neighbor must then take an oath in the presence of the Lord God. If the Lord confirms that the neighbor did not steal the property, the owner must accept the verdict and no payment will be required. If the animal was indeed stolen, the guilty person must pay compensation to the owner. If it was torn to pieces by a wild animal, the remains of the carcass be shown as evidence and no compensation will be required. If someone borrows an animal from a neighbor and it is injured or died from the owner in absence, the person who borrowed it must pay full compensation. But if the owner was present, no compensation required, and no compensation is required if the animal was rented, for this loss is covered by the rental fee. Wait, so if the animal dies? Okay. Social responsibility. Okay, I'm actually kind of liking this one. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged to anyone and has sex with her, he must pay the customary bride price and marry her. But if her father refuses to let her marry her, then the man must still pay him an amount equal to the bride price of a virgin. You must not allow sorceress to live. Anyone who has sexual relations with an animal must certainly be put to death. Anyone who sacrifices to any other god other than the Lord must be destroyed. You must not mistreat or oppress foreigners in any way. Remember, you yourself were once foreigners in the land of Egypt. You must not exploit a widow or an orphan. If you exploit them in any way, and they cry out to me, then I will certainly hear their cry, and my anger will blaze against you, and I will kill you with the sword. Then your wives will be widows and your children fatherless. If you lend money to any of my people who are in need, do not charge interest as a money lender would. If you take your neighbor's cloak as security for a loan, you must return it before sunset. This coat may be the only person's blanket your neighbor has. How can a person sleep without it? If you do not return it and your neighbor cries out to me for help, then I will hear, for I am merciful. You must not dishonor God or curse any of your rulers. You must not hold anything back when you give me offerings from your crops and your wine. You must give me your firstborn sons. You must also give me the firstborn of your cattle, sheep, and goats. But leave the newborn animal with its mother for 7 days, then give it to me on the 8th day. You must be my holy people. Therefore do not eat any animal that has been torn up and killed by wild animals. Throw it to the dogs. Because we are not wild animals. We are not wild animals. We're special than that. And a lot of people think, no, we're not. So they accept bad things, like, I don't want to say, but I can understand these rules. There was one I was confused about. If you lend money to any of my people who are in need, wait, that makes sense. You must not exploit a widow or an orphan. If you exploit them in any way and they cry out, then I will hear them. My anger will blaze against you, and I will certainly hear their cry. My anger will blaze against you, and I will kill you with the sword. Then your wives will become widows, and your children fatherless. Okay. A call for justice. You must not pass along the false rumors. You must not cooperate with evil people by lying on the witness stand. You must not follow the crowd in doing wrong. When you were called to testify and dispute, do not be swayed by the crowd to twist justice, and do not slant your testimony in favor of a person just because that person is poor. If you come upon your enemy's ox or donkey that has strayed away, take it back to its owner. If you have seen a donkey of someone's who hates you and is collapsed under its load, do not walk by. Instead, stop and help. In a lawsuit, you must not deny justice to the poor. Be sure never to charge anyone falsely with evil. Never sentence an innocent or blameless person to death, for I never declare a guilty person to be innocent. Take no bribes, for bribes make you ignore something you can clearly see. A bribe makes even righteous people twist the truth. You must not oppress foreigners. You know what it is like to be a foreigner, for you yourself were once foreigners in Egypt. Plant and harvest your crop for 6 years, but let the land be renewed and lie uncultivated during the 7th year. But let the poor amount of your harvest grow, whatever grows on its own. Leave the rest for the wild animals to eat. The same applies to your vineyards and olive groves. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but on the 7th day you must stop working. This gives your ox and your donkeys a chance to rest. It also allows your slaves and foreigners living It also allows your slaves and the foreigners living among you to be refreshed. Pay close attention to all my instructions. You must not call on the names of any other gods. Do not speak their names. 3 annual festivals. Each year you must celebrate the 3 festivals in my honor. First, celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days the bread you eat must be made without yeast, just as I have commanded you. Celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in the early spring in the month of Abib, for this is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. No one has appeared before me without an offering. Second, celebrate the festival of harvest, where you will bring me the first crop of your harvest. Finally, celebrate the festival of the final harvest. At the end of the harvest season, when you have harvested all the crops from your fields, all these 3 times each year, each man in Israel must appear before the sovereign. Wait, what's the difference between the second and the last one? Festival of final harvest? Just the regular festival of harvest? You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offerings together with any baked goods containing yeast, and do not leave fat from the festival offerings until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of the first harvest to the house of the Lord your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. A promise of the Lord's presence. See, I am sending you an angel before you to protect you on your journey and lead you safely to the place I have prepared you for. Pay close attention to him and obey my instructions. And obey his instructions. Do not rebel against him, for he is my representative, and he will not forgive your rebellion. But if you are careful to obey him, following all my instructions, then I will be an enemy to your enemies, and I will oppose those who oppose you. For my angels will be before you and bring you into the land of Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, and Jebusites, so that you may live there, and I will destroy them completely. You must not worship the gods or these nations or serve them in any way or imitate their evil practices. Instead, you must utterly destroy them and smash their sacred pillars. You must serve only the Lord your God. If you do, I will bless you with food and water, and I'll protect you from illness. There will be no miscarriages or infertility in the land, and I will give you long, full lives. I will send my terror ahead of you and create panic among all the people whose lands you invade. I will make all your enemies turn and run. I will send terror ahead of you to drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hittites, but I will not drive them out in a single year, because the land would become desolate, that the wild animals will multiply and threaten you. I will drive them out a little at a time until your population is increased enough to take possession of the land, and I will fix your boundaries from the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea, and from the eastern wilderness to the Euphrates River. By the Euphrates River, guidance long ago, conquered to manage to control. I will hand over to you the people now living in the land, and you will drive them out ahead of you. Make no treaties with them or their gods. They may not live in your land, or they will cause you to sin against me. If you serve their gods, you will be caught in a trap of idolatry. Okay, if God made everything, why did he make other gods then? Because that just means other religions are true, but they work and they're true, but they're wrong. Maybe that's it, but why would God make other religions for us to choose from? I don't understand. I feel like that would be wrong. Israel accepts, but I can't say if it's wrong or not, because only the Lords can say that. Only the Lord. I keep using the stupid S. Sorry. Israel accepts the Lord's covenant. Then the Lord instructed Moses, come up here to me and bring along Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of Israel's eldest. All of you must worship from a distance. Only Moses is allowed to come near the Lord, and the other people must not come near, and none of the other people are allowed to climb up the mountain with him. Then Moses went down to the people and repeated all the instructions and regulations the Lord had given him. All the people answered with one voice, we will do everything the Lord has commanded. Then Moses carefully wrote down all the Lord's instructions. Early the next morning, Moses got up and built an altar at the foot of the mountain. He also set up 12 pillars, one for each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent some of the young Israelites men to present burnt offerings and sacrifice bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Moses drained half the blood of these animals in basins, the other half he splattered against the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it aloud to the people. Again, they all responded, we will do everything the Lord has commanded, we will obey. Then Moses took the blood from the basins and splattered it over the people, declaring, look, this blood confirms the covenant that the Lord has made with you. In giving these instructions, then Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 7 elders of Israel climbed up from the mountain. There they saw the Lord. They saw the God of Israel under his feet. There seemed to be a surface of brilliant blue lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself, and though the nobles of Israel gazed upon God, he did not destroy them. In fact, they ate the covenant meal, eating and drinking in his presence. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Come up to me and meet me in the mountain. Stay there, and I will give you tablets of stone on which I have inscribed the instructions and command, so you can teach the people." So Moses and his assistant Joshua set out, and Moses climbed up the mountain of God. Moses told the elders, "Stay here and wait for us until we come back, and Aaron and Hur are here for you. If anyone has a dispute while I am gone, consult with them." Then Moses climbed up the mountain, and the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord settled down on Mount Sinai, and the clouds covered it for 6 days. On the 7th day, the Lord called for Moses from the inside of the cloud. So the Israelites are at the foot of the mountain. The glory of the Lord appeared at the summit like a consuming fire. Then Moses disappeared into the cloud as he climbed higher up the mountain. He remained on the mountain for 40 days and 40 days. 40 days and 40 nights. Sorry, I can't talk. Offerings for the tabernacle. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell the people of Israel to bring me their sacred offerings, accept the contributions from whose hearts are moved to offer them. Here is a list of sacred offerings: gold, silver, bronze, purple, blue, and scarlet thread, fine linen and goat hair for cloth, tanned ram skins, and fine goatskin leather, acacia wood, olive oil for lamps, spices for anointing oils, and fragrant incense, onyx stones and other gemstones to be set in the ephod and priest's chest piece. Have the people of Israel build me a holy sanctuary so I can live amongst them. You must build this tabernacle and its furnishing exactly according to the pattern I will show you." Plans for the Ark of the Covenant. Have the people make an ark of acacia wood, a sacred chest 45 inches long, 27 wide, and 27 high. Overlay it inside and outside with pure gold, and run a molding over the gold all around it. Cast 4 gold rings and attach them to its 4 feet. 2 rings, and at each side make poles from acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Insert the poles inside the rings at the side of the ark to carry it. These carrying poles must stay on the rings, never remove them. When the ark is finished, place inside its stone table inscribed with the terms of the covenant which I will give you. Then make the ark's cover. Then place the atonement from pure gold. It will be 45 inches long and 27 inches wide. Then make 2 cherubim from hammered gold and place them on the 2 ends of the atonement cover. Mold the cherubim on each end of the atonement cover, making it all of the piece of gold. The cherubim will face each other and look down at the atonement cover. With the ring spreading above, they will protect it. Place inside the ark the stone tablet inscribed with the terms of the covenant, which I will give to you. Then put the atonement cover on top of the ark. I will meet with you there and talk to you from above the atonement cover between the gold cherubim from the hover of the ark and of the covenant. From there I will give you my commands for the people of Israel. Plans for the table. Then make a table of acacia wood 27-inch high. Overlay it with pure gold and run a gold molding over the border edge. Decorate it with a 3-inch border all around. Make 4 gold rings from the table and attach them at the 4 corners and the 4 legs. Attach these rings near the borders to all the poles that carry the table. Make the poles from acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Make special containers for pure gold for the table. Bowls, ladles, pitchers, and jars to be used in pouring out liquid offerings. Place the bread of presence on the table to remain before me at all times. Plans for the lampstand. Make a lampstand of pure hammered gold. Make the entire lampstand and its decorations of one piece. The base, center, stems, lamp cups, buds, and petals. Make it with 6 branches going out from the center stem, 3 on each side. Each of the 6 branches will have 3 lamp cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with buds and petals. Craft the center stem of the lampstand with the 4 lamp cups shaped like almond blossoms, complete with buds and petals. There will also be an almond bud beneath each pair of branches where the 6 branches extend from the center stem. The almond buds and branches must all be one piece with the center stem, and they must be hammered from pure gold. Then make the 7 lamps from the lampstand and set them so they reflect the light forward. The lamp snuffers and tray must also be made of pure gold. They will need to be 75 pounds of pure gold for the lampstand and its accessories, but be sure that you have everything according to the pattern that I have shown you here on the mountain. Plans for the tabernacle. Make the tabernacle from the 10 curtains of fine woven linen. Decorate the curtains with blue, purple, and scarlet thread with skillfully embroidered turbanim. These 10 curtains must all be exactly the same size, 42 feet long and 6 feet wide. Join 5 of these curtains together to make one long curtain, then join the other 5 into a second long curtain. Put loops of each set of yarn along the edge of the last curtain in each set. Then the 50 loops along the edge of the curtain are to match the 50 loops along the edge of the other curtain. Then make 50 gold clasps and fasten the long curtains together with the clasps. In this way, the tabernacle will be made one continuous piece. Make 11 curtains of goat hair cloth to serve as a tent covering for the tabernacle. These 11 curtains must all be the exact same size, 45 long and 6 feet wide. Join 5 of these curtains together to make one long curtain and join the other 6 into a second long curtain. Allow 3 feet of material from the second set of the curtain to hang from the front of the sacred tent. Make 50 loops for each. Oh, this is all part of the altar. Wow, this is crazy. There's no way this is not real. I used to have doubts about the Bible, but these descriptions are crazy. Like, you can definitely tell back then that they put a lot of effort into actually writing the truth, because they have so much evidence just on little pieces like the tabernacle and a burnt offering. Like, they have so much here. Okay, make 50 loops, blah, blah, blah. The remaining 3 feet of this tent covering will be left to hang over the back of the tabernacle. Allow 18 inches of remaining material to hang down out on each side so the tabernacle is completely covered. Complete the tent with a protective layer of tanned ram skins and a layer of goatskin leather. For the framework of the tabernacle, construct frames of acacia wood. Each frame must be 15 high, 27 inches wide, with 2 pegs under each frame. Make all the frames identical. Make 20 of these frames to support the curtains on the south side of the tabernacle. Also make 40 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame, with the pegs fitting securely under the bases. For the north side of the tabernacle, make another 20 frames with each of the 40 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame. Make 6 frames for the rear, the west side of the tabernacle, along with 2 additional frames to reinforce the rear corners of the tabernacle. These corner frames will be matched at the top and firmly attached at the bottom with a single ring, forming a single corner unit. Make each of these corners units in the same way, so that the tabernacle set is 16 silver bases, 2 bases under each frame. Make a crossbar of acacia wood to link the frames, 5 crossbars on the north side of the tabernacle and 5 for the south side. Also make 5 crossbars for the rear of the tabernacle, which will face west. The mid crossbar attached halfway up the frames will run all the way over from the tabernacle to the other. Overlay the frames with gold and make gold rings to hold the crossbars. Overlay the crossbars with gold as well. Set up the tabernacle according to the pattern you were shown on the mountain. For the inside of the tabernacle, makes a special curtain of finely woven linen. Decorate it with blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and hang it skillfully with embroidery cherubim. Hang this curtain on the gold hooks and attach to the 4 posts of acacia wood. Overlay the posts with gold and set it with 4 silver bases. Hang with the inner curtains from the clasp and put the Ark the Covenant in the room behind it. This curtain will separate the holy place from the most holy place. Then the arks cover the place of atonement on the top of the Ark of the Covenant inside the most holy place. Place the table outside of the inner curtains of the north side of the tabernacle and place the lampstand across the room on the south side. Make another curtain for the entrance to the sacred tent. Make it finely woven linen, embroider it with exquisite designs using blue, purple, and scarlet threads. Craft 5 posts from acacia wood, overlay them with Plans for the altar of the burnt offering. So I'm guessing on Mount Sinai, when Moses was talking to God, he made the Ark of Covenant and got offerings from other people and made his altar for the Lord. And this is like a way to respect the Lord. And the Lord basically told him to make the altar. I think that's right. If I'm wrong, please someone tell me, because I want to understand this. Okay. So they have plans for the altar of burnt offerings. Use acacia wood to construct a long altar 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet long, and 4.5 feet tall. Make horns for each of its 4 corners so that the horns and the altar are all in one piece. I'm confused where the altar is. I don't know if that really matters. I don't know, because it just says that they had the altar. I'm not sure if I already said where the altar is. But I think that's an important thing. Make horns for each of its 4 corners so that the horns and altar are all one piece. Overlay the altar with bronze. Make ash buckets, shovels, basins, meat forks, and fire pans, all of bronze. Make bronze grating for it and attach 4 bronze rings at the 4 corners. Install the grating halfway down the side of the altar under the ledge. For carrying the altar, make poles from acacia wood and overlay them with bronze. Insert the poles throughout the rings at the 2 sides of the altar. The altar must be hollow, made of planks. Build it just as you were shown on the mountain. Plan for the courtyard. Then the courtyard for the tabernacle, enclosed with curtains made finely of woven linen. On the south side, make the curtain 150 feet long. They will be held up by 20 posts set securely in the 20 bronze bases. Hang the curtain with silver hooks and rings. Make the curtain the same. On the north side, 150 feet of curtain held up by the 20 posts set securely in the bronze bases. Hang the curtains with silver hooks and rings. The curtains on the west of the courtyard will be 75 feet long, supported by 10 posts and set in 10 bases. The east end of the courtyard front will also be 75 feet long. The courtyard entrance will be on the east end, flanked by 2 curtains, with the curtains on the right side will be 22.5 feet long, supported by 3 posts set with 3 bases. The curtain on the left side will be also 22.5 feet long, supported by 3 posts set in the 3 bases. For the entrance to the courtyard, make a curtain that's 30 feet long. Make it from finely woven linen. Then decorate with embroidery, blue, pink, and scarlet thread. Support it with 4 posts, each securely set in its own base. All the posts around it in the courtyard must have silver rings and hooks and bronze bases. So the entire courtyard would be 150 feet long and 75 feet wide, with curtains walls 7.5 feet high, made from finely woven linen. The bases for the posts will be made out of bronze. All of the articles used in the rituals of the tabernacle include all of the tent pegs used to support the tabernacle and the courtyard curtains that must be made of bronze. Light for the tabernacle. Command the people of Israel to bring your pure oils of pressed olives for the light to keep the lamp burning continuously. The lampstand will stand in the tabernacle in front of the inner curtain, the shield of the Ark of Covenant. And Aaron and his sons must keep the lamps burning in the Lord's presence all night. This is a permanent law for the people of Israel, and it must be observed from generation to generation. Clothing for the priest. Call your brother Aaron and his sons, Nadab, Abu, Eleazar, Ithamar. Set them apart from the rest of the people of Israel so that they minister to me and be my priests. Make sacred garments for Aaron and his glorious and beautiful. Instruct all the skilled craftsmen who I have filled with the spirit of wisdom. Have them make garments for Aaron, that they will distinguish him as a priest and set apart for my service. These are the garments they are to make: a chest piece of ephod, a robe, a patterned tunic, a turban, and a sash. They are to make these sacred garments for your brother Aaron and his sons to wear as they serve me as priests. So give them fine linen cloth, gold thread, and blue, purple, and scarlet thread. Design of the ephod. The craftsman must make the ephod finely woven linen and skillfully embroider it with gold and with purple and scarlet thread. It will consist of 2 pieces, front and back, joined at the shoulders with 2 shoulder pieces. The decorative sash will be made of the same materials, finely woven linen, embroidered with gold and blue, purple, and scarlet thread. Takes 2 onyx stones and engrave them with the names of the tribes of Israel. 6 names will be on each stone, and arrange them in the order of the births of the original son of Israel. Engrave these names on the 2 stones in the same way a jeweler engraves a seal. Then mount the stones in the insetting of gold filigree. Fasten the 2 stones on the shoulder piece of the ephod as a reminder of Aaron represents the people of Israel. Aaron will carry these names on his shoulder as a constant reminder whenever he goes before the Lord. Make the setting of gold filigree, then branch 2 cords of pure gold and attach them to the filigree setting on the shoulders of the ephod. Tribes of Israel, 6 names on each stone. Design of the chest piece. Okay. Then with a great skill and care, make a chest piece to be worn for seeking a decision from God. Make it match with the ephod using finely woven linen embroidered with gold and with purple, blue, scarlet thread. Make the chest piece of a single piece of cloth folded in a form of a patch, 9-inch squared. Mount 4 rows of gemstones on it. The first row will contain a red carnelian, a pale green peridot, and emerald. The second row will contain turquoise, a blue lapis lazuli, and a white moonstone. The third row will contain an orange jacinth, and agate, and a purple amethyst. The fourth row will contain a blue green beryl, an onyx, and a green jasper. All these stones will be set in gold filigree. Each stone will represent one of the 12 sons of Israel and the names of the tribes that will be engraved on it like a seal. To attach the chest piece to the ephod, make braided cords of pure gold thread, then make 2 gold rings and attach them to the top corners of the chest piece. Tie the 2 gold cords to the 2 rings of the chest piece. Tie the other end of the cords to the gold setting on the shoulder pieces of the ephod. Then make 2 more gold rings and attach them to the inside of the edges of the chest piece next to the ephod, and make 2 more gold rings attach them to the front of the ephod below the shoulder piece, just above the knot where the decorated sash is fastened to the ephod. Then attach the bottom rings of the chest piece to the ring of the ephod with blue cords. This will hold the chest piece securely to the ephod against the decorative sash. In this way, Aaron will carry the name of the tribes of Israel on the sacred chest piece over his heart where he goes to the holy place. This will be a continual reminder that he represents the people where he comes before the God. Insert the Urim and Thummim into the sacred chest piece so that they will be carried over Aaron's heart when he goes into the Lord's presence. In this way, Aaron will always carry over his heart the objects used to determine the Lord's will for his people whenever he goes in before the Lord.